Hong Kong, a buzzing city, late at night. The Hong Kong police get an urgent call. A bank heist. Some mysterious crew broke into a vault. But here's the twist after checking it out. They realize only one safe deposit box was hit. And get this, inside it wasn't gold, diamonds, or anything like that. It was just a freaking notebook filled with some kind of code. Turns out, the owner of that box is going ballistic. Why? Because that notebook held half of his crypto password. Half. Now, with that half of the key in the wrong hands, over $500 million worth of his crypto is suddenly at risk of just poofing into thin air. But transferring that kind of money isn't like sending a Venmo. It's complicated. And that leads us to the next target, digital asset management company. Think of it like a Fort Knox for crypto, located on the 4th floor of some nondescript building. They hold the other half of the password, along with digital assets for other big-shot clients. So the thieves break in. They're digging through the database. They stumble upon something huge. Buried in that data is the password belonging to a legendary billionaire. This guy was the CEO of the biggest crypto exchange in Kuala Lumpur. He embezzled a cool $1.5 billion in crypto and disappeared. Later, he was found dead in Macau in a seriously suspicious way. Rumor has it he faked his death because that $1.5 billion has never been recovered. Until now, nobody suspected it, but all that missing money was just sitting there, ripe for the taking. Now Simon, their tech guy, decides he needs to stay a minute longer to copy the whole darn password. The problem? The police are going to be there in 5 minutes. Their original plan was a quick 3-minute smash and grab, so 1 extra minute is seriously risky. Staying could mean getting caught. But the rest of the crew are all hyped about the potential score and agree with Simon. Lao Lang, the leader of this young crew, knows he can't stop them, so he decides to stay and cover their backs. The cops arrive right at the front door. Lao Lang yells at the crew to get out of there. They time it perfectly, jump into the elevator to escape down the hall, and then bam, they run smack dab into the cops. Here's the kicker. The cops wouldn't have even recognized them. Simon, the tech whiz, had replaced all the security camera footage with fake images so their faces weren't on camera. But just at that moment, an employee of the company they just robbed calls the cops, giving them a detailed description of the robbers and their clothes. So the cops immediately realize they've been had and start the chase. Trapped, the crew panics and rushes back into the elevator, grabbing one of the cops as a hostage. Now, normally, going up in an elevator is a total dead end. It's like walking into a trap because all the exits are sealed off. They'd be totally screwed. But here's where things get wild. They literally grow wings. Turns out, these guys had prepped parachutes. They bust out onto the roof and just jump off. The cops can only watch in disbelief as they float away. The whole gang opens their chutes and lands right on top of a nearby casino. The cops storm in after them. But again, thanks to some amazing teamwork and a lightning-fast change of clothes, they vanish into the crowd. After this whole mess, the crypto millionaire who lost his $500 million is absolutely furious. He's screaming at the cops, totally losing it. It's all gone. $500 million. Not a single cent left. The police chief is feeling the heat. In this high-tech world, they can't compete with this gang's tech skills. Their police systems are like eggshells compared to these hackers. In every crucial moment, the security cameras are either replaced, broken, or showing fake footage, leading them down the wrong path. So, with modern technology failing them, the bosses tell them to go back to the basics, good old-fashioned, traditional police work. Didn't cops solve crimes before all this fancy tech existed? That statement sparks an idea. They decide to bring back a true legend of the police force out of retirement. Xiao Zhu is assigned to shadow this legend. Now, the Legends chapter is closed. He just lives a totally ordinary retirement life. Xiao Zhu can't imagine how this regular old retiree could possibly be a legend. Until one day, after tailing the old man all day, the legend suddenly sits down right in front of him, calls out his disguise, and points out all the flaws in his surveillance. Looks like a legend never truly loses it. And just like that, De Jong is back. He rejoins the police team and starts reviewing all the security camera footage from the heist. He quickly narrows down the characteristics of several suspects and gives each one a nickname. The robbers are all young, except for one older guy who stands out. This old dude is clearly the brains and the moral compass of the group. He knows all the routes and camera locations like the back of his hand, and his skills at dodging cameras are off the charts. So, even the body cameras the cops were wearing couldn't get a clear shot of his face. But based on a few blurry, Side-angle photos. De Jong makes the ID. Back in the late 80s, there was a wanted criminal known as the Phantom Bandit. He was a foreign intelligence officer who had retired from the military and, while in the force, was part of the Special Ops Elite Assassination Squad. This guy was a master of disguise and a deadly knife fighter. He later ended up in Hong Kong and Macau and planned over a dozen bank robberies. The police launched numerous operations to catch him, but he always managed to escape, disappearing mysteriously in '99. Now, no one expected that, old and frail, he'd be back in the game. Meanwhile, back at their hideout, Long Shang is furious. He unleashes his rage on Simon. "Didn't you see? We almost got caught, the whole damn lot of us." For years, he's never been seen by the police. But Simon's decision put everyone at risk, almost getting them all identified. But Simon doesn't think he did anything wrong. He just believes Long Shang is getting old, losing his nerve, not willing to risk it all anymore. Simon talks back, and Long Shang beats him to a pulp. The other crew members jump in to stop the fight. Long Shang is even more enraged. He feels these young guys are challenging his authority. In his fury, he even pulls out a knife, ready to kill Simon. Again, the others jump in, desperately holding him back. Even Hu Feng, who's always been the most obedient, tries to restrain him. Long Shang becomes convinced that these kids have grown too big for their britches, and they don't respect him anymore. Once they get older, they always have their own ideas. Xiao Zhu is one of the few female officers on the force. She's always wanted to be on the front lines, but her lack of experience and physical strength led the male officers to look down on her. Everyone sees her as the team's lucky charm. Her father was also a detective who died in the line of duty. So, after growing up, she easily joined the force, inheriting her father's police number. The bosses respected her father, so they treated her with special consideration. When writing promotional pieces, they intentionally bring her up to create touching stories. But no one really takes her seriously. Now, De Jong is back on the force and wants to assemble a surveillance team. Their mission: to blend into neighborhoods, posing as ordinary folks, secretly investigating and tracking down this heist crew. Xiao Zhu wants in on this team, eager to get on the front lines and prove herself. But the others just laugh at her, telling her to stick to surveillance while they handle the actual catching of the criminals. Xiao Zhu is furious and immediately starts a fight with the colleague who just taunted her. De Jong sees her frustration. He offers her some words of comfort. Xiao Zhu spills her guts. In this place, no one believes that the first one to charge in can be a woman. Meanwhile, Long Shang senses that the young guys under his command are starting to have different ideas. He intentionally tests Hu Feng. "Have you ever thought about overthrowing me and taking my share and dividing it among them?" Hu Feng has no intention of betraying Long Shang. He's always been loyal and honest, and he's worked with Long Shang for so long that their relationship is closer than the others. He's long considered Long Shang like a father to him. These kids were all orphans in the orphanage. Back in the day, they all survived because of the money Long Shang stole and used to take care of them. He's realizing that raising children is hard when they get older. But Long Shang actually understands because he himself was like Simon back in the day. Talented, arrogant, and unwilling to be controlled. Sensing that things are getting increasingly tense, he tells Hu Feng that he doesn't need to come by to take care of him anymore. He needs to be alone for a while. Meanwhile, De Jong has picked his surveillance team. The people he chose are all unremarkable in appearance and are officers who have never crossed paths with this gang. Xiao Zhu is also chosen for the team. However, while everyone else is assigned to take action, she's stuck driving around every day with De Jong. Her job is just to buy him water and food. This makes Xiao Zhu incredibly frustrated. She feels De Jong is sidelining her, underestimating her abilities. That day, while driving past a small alley, even though she was on a surveillance mission, she noticed a group of thugs harassing people. In that moment, her inner hero awakens, and she can't help but charge in and fight the thugs. De Jong is angry that she disobeyed orders, but he ultimately steps in to help her. Back in the car, he can't help but tell Xiao Zhu about his past. Actually, there's a big misunderstanding between him and Xiao Zhu. They've known each other for a long time. Years ago, Xiao Zhu's father and he were colleagues and partners. But during one surveillance mission, De Jong spotted a human trafficker on the street. He should have concealed his identity as a police officer, but he couldn't help but try to arrest the trafficker. As a result, their cover was blown. Xiao Zhu's father, in order to protect him, was shot and killed. This incident taught De Jong to always act according to orders from that day on. Hearing these words, Xiao Zhu's eyes redden. This is the first time she's learned the cause of her father's death, and she finally recognizes her own mistakes. Right at that moment, the car passes a market. For a split second, they unexpectedly catch a glimpse of a familiar figure. Attention all units! Attention all units! The phantom has been spotted. Longshang is indeed very good at avoiding cameras. The cameras in the market are completely unable to capture his face head-on. To confirm his identity, they can only rely on the surveillance team to identify him with their own eyes. A few people carefully approach, afraid of alarming Longshang. The others on the surveillance team have already been seen by him in the past few days. Getting too close would definitely make Longshang suspicious. And the only one at the scene who has never been seen by Longshang, who hasn't been exposed, is Xiao Zhu. De Jong assigns this glorious task to Xiao Zhu. Xiao Zhu carefully approaches, but doesn't dare to look directly at Longshang. She pretends to look for something she dropped on the ground, and relying on the reflection in a dirty puddle, she sees Longshang's face and confirms that he is the person they are looking for. Immediately afterwards, they follow Longshang all the way to his residence. But the building where Longshang lives has a lot of residents. They can only determine which section he lives in, but they can't pinpoint the exact apartment within that section. Among hundreds of households, identifying Longshang's specific floor and room number is crucial. At this critical moment, Xiao Zhu steps up to take on this difficult task. She follows Longshang into the elevator, but Longshang has already started to suspect the girl who's been lingering around him since earlier. Specifically, when Xiao Zhu unconsciously raises her hand to her ear to communicate with her teammates, Longshang notices the gesture. He senses something is wrong with this girl and quietly pulls out his knife. Fortunately, right at that moment, De Jong notices something amiss and follows them. He pretends to be Xiao Zhu's father, loudly scolding her for being preoccupied with dating and dressing up, and casually removes her earring. Seeing that Xiao Zhu's ear is actually wearing an earring and not an earpiece, Longshang temporarily lowers his guard and puts his knife away. However, he's still not entirely convinced. De Jong then quickly presses the top floor button, floor 25. When the elevator arrives, he drags Xiao Zhu out. At this point, Xiao Zhu is sweating with fear, not knowing what to do next. De Jong calmly shows off his lock-picking skills, casually opening the door to a random apartment and walking inside. At this point, Longshang, in the elevator, sees them enter the apartment and leaves, finally feeling relieved. That night, the police use infrared cameras to monitor Longshang and discover that he's just sitting on the sofa, popping bubble wrap and staring blankly at a bag. Seeing nothing unusual, everyone leaves, leaving only De Jong to continue staying in the apartment building and posing as Longshang's neighbor. The next day, De Jong follows Longshang to the market to try to befriend him. Longshang constantly talks to test him, but De Jong skillfully deflects the questions. He even invites Longshang to his house for a meal. During the meal, Xiao Zhu pretends to be De Jong's daughter and almost doesn't reveal any slip-ups. She even uses a high-tech trick to copy data from Longshang's phone that's lying on the table. But that very night, just as Longshang leaves, a mysterious person in black breaks into De Jong's house and attacks him with a knife. At this time, Xiao Zhu has finished her shift and is gone, leaving De Jong alone in the house. The police surveillance cameras have been replaced by Simon. Luckily, De Jong is skilled in martial arts and is able to fight the masked assailant to a standstill. At the same time, Xiao Zhu, after thinking for a while, decides to return to the police station to hand in the copied phone. Everyone discovers that in the surveillance footage, Xiao Zhu is still in the house, and they immediately realize there's something wrong with the camera. Just as the police are about to leave, Simon informs the person who is assassinating De Jong. The assailant has to jump out of the window to escape in frustration. It turns out that they had discovered De Jong and Xiao Zhu's police identities, but didn't directly tell Longshang. The police realize that Longshang hasn't fled, so he must not know that the police have set up a net right above him. From this, they deduce that there's been a split within the crime group. Perhaps they also guessed that the police wanted to use Longshang to capture the whole gang. Since Longshang is bait, the police will temporarily not touch him. The assassination attempt on De Jong was just a probing action. They wanted to create chaos to take the opportunity to rescue Longshang. But now that the plan has failed, they will definitely take new actions. In another development, Simon begins to recruit more online henchmen to seize a digital vault. 3 days later, Longshang suddenly goes out, and the criminal police team immediately follows him. Unexpectedly, De Jong and Xiao Zhu's car is ambushed on the road. Just as the car passes the main gate of the police station, it's rammed head-on. The attacker gets out of the car and fires wildly at them. The arriving police reinforcements are caught by surprise. In the chaos, many police officers fall. Xiao Zhu is lucky to survive the accident. She's the first to wake up and tries to wake De Jong. But one of the thugs discovers she's still alive and immediately tries to shoot her again. Luckily, Xiao Zhu reacts in time, grabs her gun, slides out of the car, and takes down a few of them. She then drags De Jong to a safe place. At this time, De Jong also manages to wake up. He tells Xiao Zhu his speculation. There are a few braille characters on the trash bag that Longshang threw away. They must report these characters to the intelligence department to decode the hidden information inside. Meanwhile, Longshang goes straight back to the orphanage. Unexpectedly, there's also a group of assassins lying in wait here. It turns out that Simon has decided to eliminate him this time because he doesn't want Longshang to fall into the hands of the police and eventually investigate his brothers. Moreover, according to Simon, Longshang is too old and can no longer keep up with the times. Most importantly, he feels that if Longshang is arrested by the police, he will definitely sell them out, because Longshang has always been ruthless and heartless. However, Simon has underestimated Longshang with these arrangements. Hundreds of pursuers and surrounding men are still no match for him. When all the assassins have been taken down, another person appears in front of Longshang. Seeing Hu Feng, the child he raised with his own hands, Longshang can't help but let out a painful scream. He never expected that even Hu Feng would betray him. In reality, Hu Feng never wanted to kill Longshang, the father who raised him. But as an older brother, he has to take responsibility for his younger brother. He takes all the blame upon himself. Hu Feng is my younger brother. He did wrong. I am willing to bear the responsibility. The two father and son point weapons at each other. All the moves he learned were from Longshang, yet now he's using them to fight him. At first, Longshang couldn't bear to kill Hu Feng, only slapping him again and again. Hu Feng can't fight back against Longshang, so he recklessly hugs him and jumps out the window together, wanting to die together. They fall to the ground floor. Outside, the police have surrounded the entire orphanage. Longshang stabs Hu Feng in the stomach. Until his death, Hu Feng hugged Longshang tightly. He hopes that in the next life, he can be Longshang's biological son. Hearing Hu Feng's dying words, Longshang suddenly realizes that perhaps Hu Feng never intended to kill him. His expression changes, but it's all too late. At this moment, Simon is watching through the camera. Seeing his older brother die, he painfully presses the detonator button, intending to blow Longshang to pieces. But at the decisive moment, Longshang uses Hu Feng's body to shield himself from the explosion. After the explosion ends, the police rush into the orphanage and find Longshang in the rubble. Longshang says he's willing to cooperate with them to capture the crime group. At the police station, they have also captured the attackers of the headquarters. They're a group of mercenaries who don't know anything other than getting paid for their work. The mercenaries' target was 10 billion in dirty money. This dirty money had been used by the police as storage for a government digital project. They don't have the password, so they can't access the money, while Simon and his gang have obtained the password. All their efforts to break into the police station were to steal this digital currency account from the server. And now, they have succeeded. Also at this time, Simon suddenly realizes that Longshang is so strong that he can't possibly be so muddled as to not recognize the police. Yet he was still acting with them, perhaps to help them attract the attention of the police. But now it's too late to realize that Longshang wasn't confused and had no intention of selling them out. The police used the suspect vehicle tracking system and analyzed that they may have switched cars to get to a hotel. Immediately, the police go to the hotel, and sure enough, they catch some of the criminals. This time, the disguises they were so proud of became useless in front of the specially trained surveillance team. However, on the way, Longshang knocks out the police escorting him and successfully escapes. At the same time, Simon has arrived at the train station. A young police officer has been following him all along and is preparing to arrest him when suddenly, he's stabbed by someone else. Immediately afterwards, he feels his femoral artery being severed, and the pain becomes unbearable. The person who attacked him is none other than Longshang. After killing the police officer, he chases after Simon and stabs his unfilial adopted son to death. At this point, his adopted sons have been almost completely wiped out. Although he himself has successfully escaped, he knows nothing about digital currency, nor does he know how to transfer it. Longshang decides to take a gamble, using the methods of the old days, directly threatening a wealthy businessman, demanding 10 million in cash in exchange for his digital currency. Having a loss of several hundred million solved by just giving up 10 million, the businessman is naturally overjoyed and immediately agrees. He doesn't report to the police, but De Jong and Xiao Zhu have guessed Longshang's actions. They interrogate the businessman and confirm the location of the transaction. At the time of the transaction, Xiao Zhu had arrived at the location beforehand to observe. As a result, after Longshang appears, he sits down directly opposite her. Xiao Zhu maintains a calm expression, pretends to be clueless, and successfully stalls for time until reinforcements arrive. Longshang immediately fights with De Jong, but in the end, De Jong is no match for him and is almost stabbed to death. Fortunately, Xiao Zhu risks her life to hold Longshang back. Afraid that more police will arrive, Longshang quickly flees, but he has nowhere to escape. Xiao Zhu directs the forces and blocks him off in a corner of the street. "I'm a police officer. Longshang, you are under arrest." Afterwards, Longshang goes to prison. But the story is not over, because Hu Feng and Simon aren't twins, but triplets. This means that there's still another brother running free. This person has directly posted a wanted order targeting Longshang on the dark web. Longshang going to prison may very well be because he realized that behind Simon, there's still another mastermind. He wants to go to prison to temporarily avoid the storm. Thanks for watching.